Hi, I'm Alan Banks, school social worker. Many of you do not realize that before working in the schools, I worked with addictions. I was a substance abuse therapist. Many times people wonder what the starting salary is for a social worker. For those that have a bachelor's degree, it's 30 to 40,000. If you have a master's degree, it's actually 40 to 50,000, with the average salary being in the $58,000 to $85,000 range at this time. When I worked in substance abuse, the most rewarding part for me was working with people with different backgrounds. It made every day different for me because even if they had the same type of addiction or the abuse challenge, such as opioid abuse, the fact that they had different educational backgrounds and had so many different experiences, it made each day different. And that was something that I really enjoyed. When people wonder about what advice I would give them, I would say to make sure that they really consider what they are looking to do in the area of social work. Some things you can do with a bachelor's degree, but others you will need your master's degree for. So something I would recommend is getting your bachelor's degree in something other than social work. This will help you be more rounded and certainly more flexible in the job opportunity market as you move on throughout your professional career. Lastly, when people wonder about, well, what subjects can really help me in this area? And thinking specifically about those subjects in high school, psychology is an obvious one. However, I feel most any subject, English, math, art, history, is really beneficial, simply because perspective taking is so important in my profession. It is really valuable in order to understand and relate to other people. And when you can do that, trust will be formed and you are better able to assist them.
Hello, my name is Mr. Bloodgood, and I wanted to share with you a little bit about my early career experiences. My work has always been based in social services. My first mental health training took place when I was in college, when I signed up to be an operator on the student union suicide hotline. In college, with my bachelor's degree, I majored in psychology. And at that time, I remember a classmate of mine asked me if I was planning to graduate with that as my major and just do something else, or if I was truly going to pursue a career in mental health. And I'm happy that I made the choices that I did and used my degree in the field of mental health. The first job I took out of college was a position as a teaching assistant in a special education classroom at an elementary school. I kept that job until I found a salaried position with the state of Arizona, working with their administration for children, youth, and families. My starting salary was $21,000, which in today's dollars equates to about $42,000. And that's a typical starting salary for someone entering into the social services field. As your education advances and you earn your master's degree, your salary will increase and you will have opportunity to provide more therapy-based services. My work for the state of Arizona involved monitoring foster care placements and conducting adoptive home studies. The children on my caseload had either lost their parents or been removed from their parents' custody due to neglect or abuse. The abuse ranged from physical to sexual in nature. At times I had to work with the parents of the alleged, who had allegedly been the abusers. And this was also during the time when the AIDS epidemic, and some of the children were born HIV positive and had lost their parents to AIDS. I worked in the rural part of the state. I rented a guest house on a horse ranch. Tombstone, Arizona was one of the towns in my service area. Much of my work that I did there was out in the field, not in the office, doing home visits, driving from town to town, logging many miles on the road, and spending a great deal of time in my car. It required me to do much of my work independently. I wasn't always in the office being supervised by someone. A lot of my work was out visiting with parents and children in their home. This job also allowed me to work with the judicial system. I would prepare case notes and service summaries for hearings. The hearings taking place would determine guardianship of the children within the foster care system. I would also prepare and present petitions to a judge when there were people interested in becoming adoptive parents. Working in social services has the potential to be very rewarding. There are challenges such as wages, especially when you're starting early in your career. Working conditions aren't always the most favorable, and there is a high turnover rate with job burnout. But all those challenges with preparation can be managed. Those challenges are best overcome by advancing your education or training and earning your master's degree in a specified field. I chose a master's in social work because it seemed to me to be the most diversified and offered me an opportunity to work in a variety of settings. That's a quick introduction of my early career. Thanks for listening.
Hi, I'm Ruth Brooke. I'm the school nurse, the building nurse at Plainfield Central High School. I started out subbing in the district, and then I took a building position.
Okay. And then what position did you have then in nursing before this?
Well, I started out at Northern as a biology major and then changed majors to nursing. So I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science degree in nursing from DePaul. And then I worked at Loyola Medical Center in Maywood as a pediatric floor nurse, which was a high acute pediatric unit, which acute means it was challenging medical needs of children.
What would you say like the average salary range would be for a nurse at Loyola?
Right now, anywhere from $34 to $49 an hour. And that's not including shift differentials and weekend differentials. And if you end up being a charge nurse or a preceptor, you do get more money.
Okay. What did you enjoy most from that job?
The children that I took care of. A lot of the kids that I took care of were chronic illnesses. There was an oncologist that I got along with really well, so I did take care of a lot of oncology kids.
Very nice. And then what classes would you say from a high school curriculum would help somebody who was interested in maybe becoming a nurse?
Wilco with the CNA would definitely let you know kind of what nursing is about together if you have an interest in it, if you'd like it.
Perfect. And the other thing I have on here is like any personal experiences from that job that you want to share?
The only thing I guess the funny story is that I did have a little guy that he used to try to scare me when I would take care of him. He had leukemia and he used to try to hide and jump out at me. And he's kind of a big kid, and it was interesting that he actually fit into the closet to jump out at me.
What's up, guys? You may know me as Mr. T or Mr. Ben. Currently work on the RISE team here at Plainfield Central. What you may not know about me is that before my time here at Central, I spent part of my military career as an Air Force Special Operations aerial gunner for a combat search and rescue team. The duties of an aerial gunner aboard a rotary wing aircraft, meaning a helicopter, or a fixed wing aircraft such as an AC-130 are multifaceted. Not only are you required to have knowledge of the weapon systems you're operating, but also knowledge in areas such as avionics and instrumentation, along with basic medical skills. The primary duty of all combat search and rescue teams is to save lives, but in this line of work, you may have to take a life to save one. Minimum education requirements are a high school diploma, but college doesn't hurt. There'll generally be a higher rank out of basic, and that's not a bad thing. Training as a special operator is continuous. It never ends, but your first training is done at Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, where you go through basic. After that, I spent 4 weeks at Lackland training basic aircrew and gunner courses and 4 weeks at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico at the basic aerial gunner course. Afterwards, I did my SEER training for no parachute water survival and underwater egress training at Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington. After this, I spent 2 months at Kirtland Air Force Base qualifying at the basic aerial gunner course. Eventually, my duty station ended up being Hurlburt Field Air Base in Florida. Right now, the starting pay for an E4 is about $30,000 a year, not counting your housing, BHA, your food, BAS, or your combat pay if you're in theater. One of the great things about military life is that you travel, especially as an operator. Being a special operator means training with all branches, Army, Navy, and Marines, not looking at you, Coast Guard. Since we have installations everywhere in the world, you really get to see places and cultures that very few people in the world can. It really opens your eyes to the world as a whole, which changes your entire perspective and the way you look at it. Without a doubt, the thing I enjoyed the most was the relationship with my brothers in arms and being part of a team whose major goal was to protect the lives of the warriors, the very few that know the blood, sweat, and tears that go into protecting the freedom that most of us take for granted. Without a doubt, that is my greatest honor and what I enjoyed the most. As far as classes go, you really can't go wrong with any of them. You need to be well-rounded. History teaches us tactics and geopolitics. Science and math help to teach us electrical principles and ballistics. Basic biology and chemistry for the medical side of it. English just flat out helps you in being a better professional. Of course, PE, it's a very physically demanding job. So if you want to be 1% of the 1%, you need to be fit mentally and physically. Culinary makes your MREs taste better. Not really, nothing makes your MREs taste better. Last, art gives you the ability to draw cool things on your helmet. If anyone is interested in joining the military, go talk to your local recruiter. But being said, military life isn't for everyone. But if you have the will to succeed and put service before self, check it out.